Welcome to the No Rep Podcast, episode 31. Happy New Year.
Happy New
What's
Year.
happening, boys?
Happy New Year. It's definitely too late to say that.
It's now over the threshold of when it's acceptable.
No, I think you've got
Paul
until,
said it to us. We bumped into him.
you've got up until February.
No, you don't.
How you do?
Paul walked past us, like when we were walking to Tesco, he was walking out, we were walking in, he's like, oh, and Happy New Year. And I was like, that's definitely too late to say that now. But it is the first time we've been back in here from the New Year.
I think
so
it's okay to see if it's like the first time that you've seen somebody like in January. But after January, you can't.
After January,
you go to jail. You go to jail if you see it.
Do not skip go.
Do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
Straight to jail.
Check the hard drive.
Oh, fair enough. What's been happening?
Lots. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
Yeah. You're fully in the new place.
I'm in the greater south side now.
The greater
And
south side.
The villa and the scheme.
The villa and the scheme.
A scheme villa. You know, that's been great. So that's us in the house 2 months now, or around about that.
Hey, you're a bit straight. In fact, it's funny, the last podcast when you watch it, because I watched it back not that long ago, and you're like covered in paint.
Straight off the building site. Straight off the building site. The clothes that I've been wearing for the past 3 days, covered in paint. And do you know what? It's been worth it though. Yeah. Like we're now in settled-ish. There's a couple of wee bits and bobs that we need sorting, but apart from that, it's good. It's nice having a back garden and that. The dog.
You came up with a bit of a weird arrangement.
We did.
Swapped him.
What?
Swapped girlfriends.
I didn't know that one.
That was the terms.
You can get them out. No.
Switch it
Aye.
out. Aye, so what was the arrangement then?
Pretty
What
much.
wasn't involved?
Well, Ev was renting a flat, then he was moving, and I was like, well, I need a new flat. I was staying in a 1 bedroom, which was 2 holes in the wall short of a crack den. So I was like, I need to get out of here. So I did. I moved in, and that was pretty much it.
This is the thing, because the reason they've obviously got the wee dog, wee Tilly, so for love nor money, couldn't get a flat that was like pet friendly. So my old landlord, shout out Anne.
Shout out Anne.
Shout out Anne.
Brilliant.
And obviously I've got the dog and the 2 cats. It was absolutely fine. Danny, I moved out. Danny slid straight in.
She would have been happy as well.
Aye.
Because it was like getting a referral, like blah blah blah.
For everybody that worked.
She knows he's not a crackhead.
Aye. She knows,
Yeah.
and Anne knows me as well, and I know Anne. So
Oh,
it was like,
for the gym,
aye,
actually.
for the gym and that.
Shut
so
up.
It just worked perfect. It was like it was meant to be, but it was like between Christmas Day and New Year was a moving.
Oh, is that
so
right?
It was mental. You know what I mean? You're seeing family. You're trying to get everything moved over. So we did, but we kind of I was like, right. People are saying just get the motor, go back and forward. It's a few trips. It's only, for context sakes, it's only like a 1.5 minute drive for the old flat. So it's 2 seconds down the road.
Yeah.
It's also like a 1.5 walk.
Walk,
It's probably
it's probably
It's so
with the way you need to drive round.
Aye.
I know.
But so I was like, no, we'll just get a van, get everything in the van, get it all done in one day. But I didn't really work out with that. We had about 6 hours or something like that. Got as much as we could done. And then it was like a million trips back and forward, just getting all the wee bits you don't even think about, all the wee bits. So took us a good 4 or 5 days to kind of get the full move done. But the flat's brilliant. Nice wee office now, which is a game changer. Instead of just eating and chilling in the same room all the time and working. Now I can separate it. It's brilliant.
I think sometimes having that is good. But speaking of family, some big news.
I am an uncle for the first time.
Auntie
Danny, sorry. Oh, what a feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Family healthy, everybody's
great.
So it was your big sister?
Wee
sister.
And it's just no better feeling. So far to this day, I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
That's class.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, you're just going to chill here. Gonna get nice wee baby cuddles.
So cute, man.
And Ashley's like not getting sleep, and I'm just seeing all the best parts the next day.
That's totally it. When
Go
no, crack on.
No, I was going to probably say the exact same thing you were going to say. That see when it's not yours, you can give them back.
That's it. That's exactly what I was going to say, because it was Katie's grandpa's birthday yesterday, and we went round, the whole family were there, and one of Katie's cousins just had a baby, and I forgot how small babies actually are, because I'm used to holding Hattie, and she's like a wee chunk now, and she's like she's like kind of walking now, right? She can
she's
like
on that toddler bulk.
Yeah, she's on. I've been putting creatine in her milk as well, but she's like kind of walking about now, and she's like quite heavy. So I'm used to like holding her within about 2 seconds. Mom's getting sore. So then when I was actually holding a baby again, I was like, whoa, this is weird how small.
Oh, the first time I was picking her up, I was like, fucking hell, have I got her head right? Am I holding her neck right? She did, I don't know, her head's moving about. Did I get a whiplash there? Like, yeah, shitting myself like that. And then now, like 3 or 4 times in, I'm just like, oh, she's fine. I'll just grab her. She's alright.
That's all the fear about holding babies.
Like, when it's it's your own, you're pure. Like, straight into it. But see when it's someone else's, man, you're like, honestly, you're as if it's going to like shatter into a million pieces.
Aye.
But
I know, because that's the thing. You don't want to imagine. Like, God, imagine you drop somebody else's baby. Like, you would, do you know what I mean?
I've got a story. Right?
I was going to say something, you go first.
So, my wee cousin must have been about 8-9 months, maybe a year actually, right? Maybe Hattie's age. And I was on a family holiday, and my auntie and uncle and that were there, and it was Haven, Butlins, the caravans, right?
I got hit with a soup pot in Haven, but that's another story.
Tell us that in a second. My uncle had something with a soup pot, mate. And right, so I'm in the room just talking to my uncle, my auntie, and my wee cousin's playing in the bed, and she takes a backward roll off it, and I started laughing. I was only like 12. I started laughing. It was not funny. It's not funny. I get fucking. I didn't realise you wanted me to laugh. It's not. Honestly, man, the fright I got because of how much I get shouted at, and we're like, you can't fucking laugh. I was like, oh my god.
Hold on, right. But who put the? How old are you?
12 or
Who
something.
put the 12-year-old in charge of the fucking baby?
I know. True. This is true.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Fucking right. So
I should not have laughed.
I shouldn't have laughed. I didn't realise that. That was the last time I made that mistake. But
do you ever get those thoughts? In fact, it's the thoughts sometimes are like
thoughts.
know how when you're like, say if you're driving, you're like that. I could easily like just or like crash this car. Do you know? No, but you never do it. But then you see that. Have you ever seen those reels or TikToks? And then it's like the people driving and go whoop and they like pretend to.
Aye.
Like, have you ever got like see about animals and babies are so fragile?
Yep.
You would never ever do anything.
Yep.
But just thinking like, see if you could.
I know.
Does that? I'm not the only one that's ever thought that.
Evan says it out loud.
I'll punch
As
that
it's just
baby.
the thoughts just come
I
out.
know. Do you know, apparently, to see the whole...
I've seen Evan in 2 fist fights with baby.
with babies, yeah, and I kicked a cat as well. And,
Like the West Ham player. What's his name?
Oh, just
Booting cats.
Zuma? Kurt Zuma.
Was that?
Kurt Zuma, that's his name. But you know, apparently, and I don't know how true this
Don't
is,
fuck with
but I
cats.
read it like years ago, and it's just been one of those facts that's stuck in my head. Do you ever see an animal like a cat or something, right? And you just want to squeeze it. You just want to like, I just want to squeeze it, right? Apparently, that's like a defense mechanism or something like that.
Right.
Like, see, it's like too cute. It's taking your attention away from like surviving and all that.
Right.
So that you want to squeeze it, it's actually like your brain telling you want to kill it. So it's not like
A threat.
a threat anymore.
Interesting.
Mad. I don't. Again, probably very not true. But
That makes sense. I feel like I've seen something similar, and it's that everybody has the same thoughts sometimes about certain things, like those mental thoughts, but it's actually only the psychopaths that carry out the thoughts. So like we could all think the same things, but only the people who are fucking mental actually do the things.
See,
Aye.
this
Like,
is
I
how,
could drive this motor just like
I know.
do you ever think, right, how mad comedy is? Like, think about the concept of comedy. It's
Right.
people on a stage or on a podcast about saying some of the most outlandish shit, but it's all just intrusive thoughts a lot of the time that you've had. And they're just saying it, but they're making a joke about it, and it's hilarious and it's allowed, but I just think comedy's just such a weird fucking
I
thing.
get that.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I
Like,
get exactly what you're saying. You could say something like horrific
Aye.
on a stage.
You're like,
Because
oh my
you're on a stage,
Aye.
folk fucking laugh at it.
Yeah.
But if you said it like on a bus,
Yeah,
you can't say that
context
about fucking
matters.
babies, mate.
aye,
do you know what I mean?
aye.
But the audience, I feel, makes comedy because like I'll watch some things and I'll be like, that's really really funny, but the audience aren't really feeling it, and like if the audience have a good reaction, it makes the joke
Funnier.
or the bit better.
Do you know what is the one of the worst things? See, when you're with people that don't like the same comedy as you. Like, so for example, like, see all the comedians and things that I've got a really dark sense of humour. Amanda doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So we can't watch that stuff on the telly because she's like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like crying with laughter.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Because Katie got me Frankie Boyle tickets. Like we went to one of his shows and she was like, I don't really want to go, but I know you like him, so we'll go sort of thing. She ended up laughing at most of the shit he was saying, but some of it she was like, oh my fucking god.
Well, I feel like maybe early 20s when Frankie Boyle was saying some mad stuff, I was a wee bit like, oh, that's too far.
Nah, I was loving
but
it, man.
now I don't think there's a limit to what I'd laugh at. No. I really
The
don't.
closer to the bone, the better.
I seen a thing on Instagram the other day, and it was this white guy who was standing on stage, and he was like, isn't it mad that white people can't say the N-word? And then everyone's like, oh, and he's like, well, we did invent it. Now we can't say it. The fuck's up?
You gotta take that away from us. What the fuck?
And he was like, it's kind of like privilege, isn't it? Like, we came up with the word, which I found that hilarious. Someone could look at it and go, oh, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to make the jokes. Anyway,
What have you been up to?
what have I been up to? Spending money on shite
That you don't need.
that I don't need. Like, I bought this like 3 meter, you know, in my living room, right? It's fucking big ceilings and all that. I bought this 3 meter picture frame. And Katie was raging.
Wait a minute.
3 meter?
Aye, right. She was raging at me so
Just to
angry.
clarify, 3 meters.
3 meter, right? And she was raging. And she was
huge.
like, she's like, why did you buy it? Why the fuck did you buy that? And I was like, listen, calm down. Just look at the bigger picture.
Right, first off, did you actually buy a 3 meter picture frame?
It was a joke.
God, man.
You had me.
I get it. You had me.
Anyway.
I don't care what you're up to.
Let's-
Right, let's get on with this.
No, but in seriousness, I had you on, man. I had you use like 3 meter. I'm like, aye, 3 meter. Anyway,
I'm just trying to picture that.
I know, so
Get it?
I was like, how big is 3 meters?
I said a joke. I'm trying to picture that.
No.
What the fuck was I going to say there? What?
I don't care. No,
I was trying to picture
Danny-
that. I know.
Oh, right.
Come on,
Good one. Good one.
both just as bad as each other. Continue.
Mate, mine was good. Hattie turns 1 tomorrow,
Wow.
Wow.
which is fucking crazy. It's the craziest thing ever. So obviously the podcast has been going less than a year. So she was just born and we just kicked it off.
We actually need to find out when we are one.
That's true,
I
actually.
think it's like Feb.
Is it?
It's I remember it being February, I believe. I saw she turns 1 on Friday,
That's
man.
mad.
It's just fucking tomorrow, which is crazy.
She's doing tricks and that now.
She's doing backflips. She's taking up.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up. You sound like
Oh, fuck's sake.
just in case you didn't hear that there, Paul just says it was a year ago today you booked it. We got excited and I went, fuck, that's the day's booked. So it was there a year ago today. 22nd of February.
22nd of I knew it was Feb, but I knew it was
That's
February.
the day after my birthday.
Is it?
Aye.
There you go. I knew it was February. So obviously the podcast's nearly been going a year, but Hattie turns 1, so that's mad. So that's what's been going on in my
Your
life. So
dad ate a
I'm
1-year-old.
not gonna lie, Katie is quite difficult to be around at the minute because she's just stressing out. She's trying to bake a cake. She's trying to pick up balloons. She's trying to like do all this shit. She's trying to not lump stuff on me because I'm busy. So it's not enjoyable at the minute. But I'm sure like when we have like some family around and stuff.
See, when I have a kid, I'm not gonna get them any presents or balloons or anything until they're at least 5.
Mate, they don't
Aye.
need that. They don't
They don't need it. They're not going to remember it.
No.
Sorry, Kay.
On the since talking about babies and you being a dad and stuff like that, when will you let her have like phone, tablet, all that stuff? You thought with us?
I know, right? Because it's actually quite weird that she doesn't know what a phone is, but she'll grab it and go like this. Right?
On
And I'm like,
TikTok.
give me that back, right? And so it's quite a bizarre thing. To be honest, the actual answer to that is I don't know. Because I remember with not being a parent and then like, see if we go out for lunch now, like she's at the point now where she needs to be constantly like doing something. Otherwise she'll be like, right? So see, sometimes like if shit's kicking off, she's been fed, she's had her nappy change, she doesn't need anything, but she just wants attention. See, sometimes just putting something on your phone to just like keep her stimulated for 10 minutes before you go. You need to do that. Whereas like before I was a parent, I'd be like, I'd never do that. I'd never. Shut the fuck up.
No.
Right? Shut the fuck up. You're doing it, right?
Aye.
So in terms of when they get given a phone, I don't know.
So I heard I heard someone say this, and it might have been a famous person, I don't know. And they said basically, I'll not give my kid a mobile until they can read a newspaper back to back. They can understand and read a fucking newspaper. Then I'll give them a mobile phone. And I was like, it's quite good.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Do you know, I was thinking this as well, because I was very much like previously in the camp of, well, I didn't have a mobile phone until I was, I don't know what age,
26.
And but what we've got to remember as well is, like, when I was 16 to now, it's a totally different world. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna need your mobile phone for everything. Do you know what I mean? But I do understand the implications of
this is the thing. It's like, because obviously our parents didn't grow up with phones and all that. We got phones when we were maybe like 10 or something, maybe like about those ages, so they could phone you and say your dinner's ready. But it's like times are changing, so when she's older, I don't know, like,
because the thing is as well, Tinder wasn't a thing when we were young.
This is true.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's totally.
But imagine
different.
it was.
Imagine. Oh, hey.
You have to do the old way. Fucking
Bebo, MSN.
I had them on MSN.
I know.
Fucking nudged them a few times.
Waiting to see if they'd come online. They'd come online and they'd go off. Fucking night's
Fucking
ruined.
hell, I know. I remember me and Katie were actually talking about this before, where there was what would you call it? The ranking scheme where people would make it in and out your PM, because you had your name and then you had your PM.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So then people would make it in and out, and I would mostly just try and lace mines with buds. Be like, and then the thing is, right, so if they made their way up the ranking, I'd slide them closer to like the first name on the PM. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And like obviously a few of the boys would be in there as well, but then when they were your actual girlfriend, they would be in your name. And then that was like the total ranking. But then if you're a top boy, a top G, you would then still have a couple of others just laced in there as like
pals.
backups. That was like the kind of the
pals.
rankings, and used to get people. Simpler times, man.
I know.
Do you
Maybe you could change your colour and all that, and change
You get people to do your names for you and all that.
I was just about to say a bit fancy name, and it's like ... smiley face, like it would.
Oh, I've got an amazing story, right? I don't know if I've shared this before, right? My mate Dowd, he listens to the podcast, right? So in fact, you're the perfect example of this. So see if you were making your MSN Addy, right? Your email address back in the day, you would do Danny M, EHM. Remember people used to do that, right? Or
I remember that.
Right, you remember that? So Danny M, right? So, but think about it. In Scotland, lots of people's second name ends in M, with the mix and the max and all that sort of stuff. So my mate Dowd, Stuart Dowd, right? Everybody just called him Dowd. That was like everybody just called his second name his first name. He made, I'm not lying one bit, his MSN Addy was Dowd _M. EHM, because he had so many people had the surname M, so he was just like, this must be a thing
that we all do.
Aye, so then his mates, I didn't know him at the time, his mates were like, why Dowdette, what the fuck? And he was like,
Okay, hell, man.
Like, I don't know.
Do you remember Bebo giving people like your last love for the day, and you that last love that meant you liked them?
Yeah.
Like, you're a wee ride.
What did
last
you?
you
Is that why you would always give me
my last love? Exactly. That's exactly it.
Did you get like 3 a day? Is that what it was?
3 a day, and then on Valentine's Day, unlimited love.
Oh, you remember this all too well.
I'm still one, Bebo. I'm the only one. Should use it
Did
myself.
you hear I heard a story about the people who owned Bebo.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Is this tinfoil hat?
No, they sold it to, I can't remember if it'd be a Facebook or if it'd be a whatever, but they sold it for like mega millions.
Mm-hmm.
It then obviously crashed.
Yep.
They bought it back for like $1 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going to, I think they're going to maybe now potentially make it into like I don't know if it's being either an NFT space, a game streaming space, or a dating site. I can't remember what one it was. But it was a couple built it, sold it for like $1 billion. It fucking crashed. They bought their own company back for $1 after like making
all sorts on it.
Like they're set.
Am I right in saying that Beats copied the Bebo like B or something like that? And there was a whole
that's
thing.
very similar. I don't know if that's a thing, but
There's a whole thing or something.
Was it?
I think so. Right. Just for you saying that there. So I was thinking to myself, did Bebo do music for a point?
No, but you used to have a music video when you went on your Bebo page. you had a song
Is that on MySpace? Was that Bebo?
MySpace had. I never had MySpace. MySpace had that, but
Bebo
we went
had
on
it.
Bebo. Like you had a YouTube video that would be a song
right.
on your Bebo page. I
me-
remember what mine was.
There used to be folk, like
was
just
it?
like normal folk, like your pals and all that, that'd be really good at like making MySpace profiles.
Oh, yeah.
And they would do it for you and
Yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah, because you'd make it different and all that.
Aye.
That's true. That is mad.
That's a blast for the past, man. That's absolutely mad.
That was a bit of a deep dive there.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What was your song?
Oh, what was my song?
Aye.
The one that I remember the most was Dr. Dre, The Messenger. I think. No, The Watcher. Dr. Dre, The Watcher. That song. It was on the 2001 album.
I was an emo, so it was like Billy Talent or something.
The fuck is Billy Talent?
Exactly. That's it.
He's just probably Akon or something.
Can you imagine right now who your top 5 in Bebo would be? Like, so see if you were to look at your
right.
14-year-old Bebo, can you imagine who your top 5 would be? You don't need to write them off just now, but think about that.
Who would they be back then, or who would they be
Back
now?
then, not now, because I'd be number one.
I can't
Obviously,
remember.
I mean, I think it would be not far off the same, bar one.
it's mad.
Do you know what I mean? I
that's
think it'd probably not
I
be.
think it'd be hilarious to look back.
Yeah, it would.
Mine
man.
was all my aunties and uncles because I had no pals.
I remember.
not lying,
Mate,
is
I'm
it?
Uncle Joe.
I'm throwing all my mates under the bus today. So my mate Mark, right? In first year and that, we all used to think. I think me and a few of the boys used to think he was gay, right?
Which is fine.
Which absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with being a homosexual, okay? Before MD tries to throw me under the bus. But anyway, we also used to think he was gay because all he did was he just hung about with girls. That's all he did.
Yep.
And then he's Bebo.
That was a connection you made, but when you were younger, wasn't it? That was
Yeah,
just
like,
oh,
if a
that's
guy
just-
hung about with just girls, like, chances are he's probably gay. Anyway, so
Which is fine.
why do you keep saying that?
Just for clarity.
He's not one.
No, I know.
Just for clarity.
Devon's definitely scared we're going to get cancelled one day. Anyway, you're like pointing out, it's like when someone's got a spot in their face
know.
and they know they've got a spot in their face and you keep saying, you've got a spot in your face. Like, stop highlighting it.
Continue your story, please.
Anyway, so his top 16 on Bebo, just all girls. So we were like that. There's no way. Anyway, he ended up obviously hanging out with us more. And then it turns out he's no.
There you go.
Well, I still
He was
have my...
bumping all 16.
I mean, I've still got my inklings, but it turns out he's not. But so Bebo days back in the day.
Evil days.
Anyway, we weren't going to talk about any of this stuff.
No, this is totally.
We were going to highlight
This always happens, but
some of the potential plans for the poddy, what we got lined up this year. And then we were going to do questions. That's next one.
We'll do some questions this one, I think.
Aye.
You want to?
Find a couple in there.
Right, okay.
They need to have some value.
Aye, some value. But plans for the podcast this year, other than complete world domination, is what, Evan?
You've chucked me under the bus. I don't know the fucking plans.
Make something up.
Just tell the people.
lots
Whatever
of things.
whatever you want to happen, Evan. Just
Do you know what? I was actually thinking about this. I would love to run an event this year. Right, so we've kind of spoke loosely about this.
Yes.
Right. But I would love to, and we could get speakers in from different topics. It could just be us. It could be ticketed, imparting value, knowledge, wisdom, and then having a big shindig at the end of it.
Aye.
I think that would be class.
that could be good, like a live podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking record it, video, all that shit.
You live poddy.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think so.
let us know in the comments if you'd like to see it as well.
Aye, I agree because it was something at the
Can
start
we,
of
not,
it.
can we not fit everyone in the green room?
We could fit a couple of people. We could probably fit all of our listeners in the green room. To be fair, no, this is obviously something. I think we spoke about it quite early on, didn't we? We were chatting
Yeah.
about it, like how cool it would be. And
Stephen Bartlett and that, he's done that, hasn't he? Am I right in saying that?
well, no. So
Or
what
did he
he,
do just an event?
I think what he does, well, he annoys me actually, which I'll get on to. Yeah,
Oh, I love
but
Stephen Bartlett.
he
I bought his diary.
did you?
No,
Send it
no.
back.
Aye. There was a backlog, obviously, so I just got it.
Why send it back?
That's because
Because
he's
you-
Oh, right.
No,
I don't
I'm
know.
Team Jordan.
It
Fuck
kind,
Stephen.
it kind of annoys me a wee bit.
Does it?
I like his guests it gets on, but he does kind of annoy me. But
Continue.
what the fuck was I saying?
we were saying about we were talking about it ages ago.
He done something,
Live event.
maybe?
Yes, and obviously it seemed a bit far fetched back then, but it doesn't seem as far fetched now.
Because we've got at least 30 listeners.
Because we've got at least 4 people that listen to us, so that's at least we'll buy his dinner.
Aye.
You know what I mean? I think we'll do it. We'll for sure have an event before the end of the year.
Aye.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But it's I think obviously we've got a couple guests on, Crypto Boys, Chris, who were great. Those episodes were our most popular
Yep.
episodes.
Done brilliant.
So it's going to be guest season as well. But I think
Yes.
it's probably balancing between the two of getting guests on and also still continuing to chat shit, impart some sort of value.
And we'll have a nice mix.
Yeah, for
Have a
sure.
nice mix.
Also, if you're listening and you feel like you would actually feel like you could bring something to the table, because everybody's got an interesting story, I feel. And everybody's got an interesting story. So if you're not a boring bastard and you could maybe part some form of, I don't know, advice, wisdom,
Aye.
share your story.
Yep.
You know, you've been blown up in Nam, you've only got one leg. Let's hear about it.
Do you ever watch is it Lad Bible or Uni Lad or something, and they do like the 15 minutes interesting stories?
No.
And it's like all random people that somebody's been, somebody was a terrorist, somebody was like a bank robber, somebody was like weird, like somebody was a sniper in the army and he's got the longest recorded like shot or something, or kill. If you're one of those guys, if you're fucking more on the podcast,
If you were in the Taliban, I don't know. Is that what you're
can
trying
anyone
to
find
say?
John
What-
Smeaton? Mind him that kicked a terrorist.
Oh, aye, the
Oh,
boss,
aye.
aye. Aye.
John with
He's
the
a
podcast.
shout, mate.
He's a
Aye.
shout.
Come on, what are you up to now?
What is he up to, man?
Don't know, but you get a medal, right? You get on.
He did, he
What do you
did.
call it?
NBA,
MBE.
I think.
An MBE.
Aye.
Or something like that,
NBA?
NBA.
right? NBA.
Aye.
NBA.
Aye, kicked a terrorist and he's playing for Pacers. What do you just want to happen this year?
Live event for one, guests for two, and also
Naked podcast.
pump. What? You said naked podcast. I said pump, but I didn't finish my sentence. So now it sounds
Just leave
weird.
it at that.
Leave
Naked
it at
pump.
that. Just I think the pumping out weekly episodes
Yeah.
as well is probably going to be one thing I want us to strive for. Also,
Yeah. We do want
'cause-
to be more consistent. Obviously, it's hard. 3 people getting together all the time.
I've got babies,
Own businesses, babies.
Babies?
Yes.
Yeah, my dog.
Yeah, good
Bears.
save.
Bears, my baby. Go on, baby boy. Anyway,
But yeah, more consistent. That'd be mine.
I made a tweet. I made a tweeter on, and this is something that I wanted to ask you guys and chuck you under the bus and just get you kind of on the spot response of. So I said 10 things I'd tell myself today if 10 things I'd tell myself if I started CrossFit today. So obviously that's what I coach. That's the type of person that I help, and I made a list of things which we can dive into. But I know what my things were, so I kind of wanted to get your off the cuff responses on 10 or 5 or 3 things that you would potentially tell yourself before you started X. So whether that be rugby, it could be business, it could be training, something that you feel that people might gain a bit of value from.
That younger Evan would have benefited.
The younger Evan would have benefited from.
Younger
What-
Ev, few months in the gym. What'd you say to him?
Stop eating pizza crunches every lunchtime at school. it's probably
There you go, by the way.
But you still do that.
Aye.
If there was ever wisdom to, do you know?
Is this to a current Evan you're
Guys, this is actually a therapy session for me. I need to stop eating pizza crunches.
I've not had a pizza crunch in easily
My name
over
is
10
Evan,
years.
and I'm a pizzaholic. I'm so sorry.
Hey.
No, see, like, younger me in the gym, I would tell myself to plan things more. I was just very erratic. I was all over the place. And see, the thing is as well, it really depends on, like, a bit of perspective. When I was around about that age, I was going between about 3 places. So I was like, I had my mum's kind of house in Strucker, which is the back end of nowhere in Dunoon, right? My dad stayed in Dunoon, right? I played rugby in Greenock and Glasgow. I was going to school in Greenock, and then I moved to school, and so I was all over the place, right? And it was just, everything was very reactive. Everything was very, so like if I'd go to the gym, it would be because I'm in Guruk at that time and I'd pay for a day pass at the Guruk pool gym, or I would then, or one day I'd get the ferry over and I'd go to the gym in Dunoon, and everything was just all over the place. I know that's really a PT telling you to plan and stuff, but I never actually like sat and thought about, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? How I didn't even think about what outcomes I wanted to get
You were just at the gym.
I was just at the gym. I was just doing it.
It was a
just
thing to do to pass time.
It's just more like I'm at that age. I'm like 15, 16, 17, 14, whatever age I was. 15, 16, 17, 14. That's how we counting doing, right? But you just kind of felt like you just kind of felt like I just something I need to go. And I would actually also tell young Evan, the rugby player, to take your physical conditioning more seriously. Like a million percent. I had the under 14s, no, under 16s in for a training session. The coaches asked me to take them through some kind of gym stuff and all that. So I done it up at the rugby club and all that. And the difference between you succeeding at that age is physical conditioning. Right, skill level and stuff you can develop as you get older. But see, if you want to get into a district team or you want to achieve any success in that regard, generally at that age it's physical conditioning.
If you weren't big or fast or big and fast, you were probably you were playing club level and that was it.
Yep.
At that age, like, it's crucial. Like, you could be the worst, you could barely catch the ball. If you're big and fast, we'll teach you to catch the ball. That's kind of what it is, isn't it? So you're totally right there. I resonate with that.
That would have probably changed the course of my life. Might not have been professional or anything, but for those years and maybe up to my early 20s and stuff, it would have definitely changed a lot of the things that would have happened in my life.
Do you think that impacts not just rugby but Scottish sport in general, where, because let's face it, I'm not too sure about the football aspect. I could definitely speak on the rugby side of things, where they look at physical attributes a lot quicker than they do skill level or skill acquisition.
Do you know, I remember, and you will probably remember something like this as well, so many players that used to play like pro youth football or whatever when they were younger getting let go because they were too small.
My God. So Robert Harris, 2 doors down for me, played for Rangers, an amazing player, let go because of his height. Ended up going to like down south eventually, playing with good teams and stuff down there, kind of championship teams and stuff like that. Phenomenal player, great left foot, could kick, free kick, like score free kicks, very far out, but just because he's too small.
It's mad. It does, at that age, it does. The thing is that you can't get away from it making a difference, because see with rugby in particular, right, it's a contact sport, and players, unless they're made of something different, don't really get that kind of natural kind of aggression until they're in their 20s. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like boys playing with men. Like, there's guys that are playing with us just now, like the younger boys.
They just don't have that bite, eh?
They just don't have that bite. They don't have the mentality to just go, I'm going to fucking melt this guy.
I never see until I actually was maybe about 22 and I made my way back to East Kilbride. I think I was maybe 22 or 23 and I played the 2 or 3 seasons at East Kilbride before I stopped. I didn't actually feel like I knew how to properly play rugby until that point. So I was like, you know what I mean?
Yep, totally.
Like, and because I didn't have that when I first started playing, I was a shite bag. Like, do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But I just I don't know. I think about this all the time. I don't know why I kept going back, because I was like, I didn't like it. I was just scared of it. Do you know what I mean? But I just kept going. And then until I was like 22, thinking about chucking it, going, oh, I'm actually starting to get okay at this.
I get this. There's still time for you to come back.
I don't know. I'm too old, man. Too old.
That will cross that bridge pre-season when you come and help us.
Come and help us out.
What about what about you?
I mean, you had some great points there.
I tell you what, right? I know you're probably thinking on the fitness side of it. So he spoke on fitness side of things, right? Why don't you talk about, like, in terms of like the work side of things? Because we were talking when we went out and got one of the best cookies and coffees I've probably ever had. Shout out.
What's the place called?
Maze.
I think so.
Maze on Finnieston.
Argyle Street.
One of them.
In West End.
You were talking about, because we were talking about my cousin and stuff like that, and you were like that. I didn't feel like I got like a hunger for business until I was at 28. But by that point, you were already 6 years into. 7 years into business, probably.
Well, I started college when I was 19 for fitness, but started working in a gym in 2013, so 5 years.
Got 5-6 years. So it took you to then to finally feel like, oh, right, I'm doing something. So, like, what would you tell yourself back then?
Man. God. Stop going to take weekends as much. That'd be the first thing.
I've got something to say about that, actually.
That would be the first thing. It would probably just be like, realise that nobody's going to do it for you would be the big thing. You need to grow up at some point. Fucking what you waiting for? don't rely in, like, it's almost like I felt like I just kind of relied on my wee mum and relied on people financially. When really, when you start getting into the early 20s, you should really be starting to make your own financial decisions and taking a bit more responsibility. So it would probably be actually take on more responsibility, like financially, to maybe give me the pressure to realise, right, I need to make more money here, and maybe it'd force me into kind of doing a bit more stuff for the business side of things. But I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to think what my mindset was like when I was 28. Because now I could easily say, oh, like, you need to make something yourself, you need to start now because it's going to take you 10 years. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'd be like, right, you might think this is going to happen in a year because you see people,
that's a great point.
you see the glamour, right? And you see people that have made it and you're like, well, I've only known about them for a year, but you don't maybe say the 10 years prior to that and the 10 years of graph. So maybe tell myself, listen, this is going to take you 10 years. So then I'd go, fucking hell, I want it next year, so I better start.
Yeah.
So maybe when I was in early 20s, hearing that, this is going to take you 10 years, this isn't going to be a quick, that would probably be the number one.
That's huge. See, one of the things that I'd maybe tell myself is that it's related to kind of being social and stuff and whatever when you were younger, is see all the things that you're worried about missing out on is, see, like 5 years time, you won't actually remember it.
Nope.
Do you know what I mean? So there's so many times that I put myself in like shit financial situations, like, or fucking just shit situations in general, to keep up with my pals or to kind of go out and do these other things. Don't get me wrong, like, the memories are not that we're fucking class, right? But at that time it felt like the world would end if I didn't do these things.
Massive FOMO.
Like, yeah, like the world was going to end if I didn't see Swedish House Mafia's last fucking gig. I didn't actually go. I was going to go do that, right? But I don't fucking care.
Who gives a fuck?
So this is a thing. Like, so I think about that a lot, right?
Swedish House Mafia.
Swedish House Mafia. I think about them all the time.
Fish. I'm buzzing to go see fish.
Nah, I think about this all the time. Right? So, like, but then if you didn't go, right, this is what I think. If I didn't go to these things as much, didn't go out with my pals as much, didn't tap money to go out to the dancing or whatever, go to a party, right?
Did you tap us 50 quid?
Am I going to tap us a 20 quid
50
note?
quid?
Know what I mean? Maybe you could go out with 20 quid and come back with a fiver.
Oh, fucking
maybe you could go out
wild.
with 20 quid and come back with 25. You'd be like, shut the phone night out. How does that happen? Now you go out and it's £325 for your taxi. No, so but this is a thing.
£325.
Just a
That's
taxi.
fucking true, man.
But, so I think about that, right? But then what position would you be in? So let's say you didn't go out as much. I feel like the mindset we're in now, there is people that are in their 20s that are more like that now than there ever was when we were in our 20s. There's more people watching Gary Vee and Hermosi and just different people, and they're seeing kind of what's possible, and because of TikTok, and these people popping up who are late teens, early 20s, who are doing drop shipping and who are doing all these things. So it's more in your face now, that type of stuff. I feel like it would be easier probably now if you're listening, you're in your 20s and you're always at the weekends, and maybe there'll be pals out there, no doubt, that would be more into business and more into kind of this.
I also feel like the other side of that is also the complete opposite end of that spectrum is also more prevalent as well, because like, see, when people start going out, but like going out and going to like afters and getting involved in things that they maybe perhaps shouldn't be getting involved in, that didn't maybe happen in our circle of friends until
getting a bit multicultural with like Colombians and
until like people were like kind of like in their mid-20s. Now you've got guys who are like teenagers, not even old enough to go out yet, doing that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Back when I was doing in-person stuff, right, I was training a boy who was 16, right, and he was dead quiet to begin with, and then as I got to know him and stuff over a couple of months, he was opening up, and he just kind of let slip one time. He's like, yeah, we're out, and I was like on Charlie or something, and I was like, you are 16,
mate.
16,
fucking hell,
mate. That's what I'm saying. So it's
mad.
It's open on both ends of the spectrum, I feel. Whereas like when I was 16, mate, I was fucking shouting abuse to random people on FIFA,
on COD,
on Call of Duty, mate. That's what I was doing. Do you know what I mean? I'd run home, to try and beat my wee brother because we shared a fucking Xbox so I could then play Call of Duty. That's what I was doing when I was 16.
There'd be that one nutcase in your school that'd be on blues. Right?
Yeah,
There'd be that one absolute heat case. Here, watch out! Well, here, McIver's fucking mental. Right? Leave him alone, right? And it wouldn't be gear. It'd be blues.
Remember, you can fucking hell, man. It's still full of energy as well. Remember, you can smoke in the buses, right?
No.
No.
I don't think I'm that old, mate.
Paul. Right, fucking hell, boys, come on. Who's of my age? Right, so used to be able to smoke in the buses, right? So we would get the magic bus, and it would be like 15 fucking pence to school in the morning, right? We were joking about it. It was like 20 pence to school, and there's this boy. There's this boy John Martin, right? And fucking fling him under the bus. And I'd be going to
the bus podcast.
I'd be going to fucking do my exams, right? And that's my prelims and my standard grades. I left in like 5th year. And he was getting stoned at the back of the bus, got to do his exams as well, right? And I'd be like, oh, fucking, I'd do shite in my exam and be like, oh, I think I was just a bit stoned off his like smoking that because he was smoking at the back of the bus. That was my excuse for doing really bad at my exams.
Wasn't the fact that you were just a bit stupid. That's mental. I had a proper like salient point before we started talking about smoking on buses.
About what?
I can't believe you just don't remember that.
What we're just saying.
No, do you know, speaking about cheap buses, I remember for the academy in Greenock into the town centre, it used to be 20p on a Heart bus, right? And then you could get a Pizza Crunch special, a can of red cola for £1.10.
Mate, that's a day out.
That's wild.
That's a day out for under £2, man.
Great.
Absolutely fantastic.
See, going back to you were saying about Pizza Crunchies, every lunchtime, man, at school was either a Pizza Crunch and chips or I'd get a baguette and a big long jumbo sausage at Asda, just whack it in it.
I bet you would.
With like fat, whack it right in it. And 4 donuts and that. I'm like, what the fuck was going on my body then?
It was you could eat whatever you wanted. I used to get like free school lunches, right? But then my mum would
3 school lunches.
No, I will. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
A few nerds bump their tickets.
No, I used to get like free school lunches because like my mum was at a certain income bracket.
You got the ticket.
Yeah, so I got the ticket, right?
Ticket.
So I used to go in, right, and Annette, my pal's mum, was a dinner lady. So I'm like, Annette's happening, boom. There you go, panini, soup, give me a brownie as well. But my mum used to also
make you sandwiches.
No, give me some money because she never, like, because I was always saying to her mum, the school dinners are shite, I don't like them, and I love them, right? So I'd go down to the front and the room and I'd get a chips and curry as well. And then on the way back up into my grand's wee cup of tea biscuit, buff.
That
was a big boy.
I had a similar setup where, remember when you used to get your Young Scot cards, but the Young Scot cards were loaded with £1.20, so they'd be loaded with £1.20 every day, but it wouldn't like build up and accumulate. I thought I was fucking Warren Buffett because I didn't spend it for a week.
I'm saving us.
And then I realised that it was like, it still says £1.20, so you need to spend it every day. So at break, I would go rolling sausage flapjack, right? My mum would make me sandwiches as well and give me £2.50. So I'd go up the Westwood Square, go to fucking Delish or the Butchers or the Chippy, £2.50, bosh, right? I remember I used to be able to buy 4 rolls of sausage for under £2.50, right? And I can. Anyway, and then go to the gym with Kyle on my way home, eat my sandwiches. Shout out Kyle again, he's getting too many mentions on the podcast. But mate, I used to be mad. I don't eat that much now.
I know. Like,
mental.
It did used to be class, didn't it?
I give it how much you're running about. Like you're just constant at that age. Man. Constant.
We used to sprint from, if I wasn't going in to get a Pizza Crunch, it'd be down to the Esplanade in Greenock from my school, so we'd sprint down there to make it, and slice rolls and sausages were 50p.
Aye.
Yeah. So you would get like 2 rolls and sausage, spicy chicken milk panini, packet of milk chews. It was like £2.50.
Milk chews.
Aye.
Milk chews.
Milk chews. Yes.
Chews.
Great. Absolutely dynamite.
What the fuck's a milk chew?
It's like a milky chewit.
A milky chew. That sounds bogging, man.
It's level 10.
Ultraviolets.
Snacko.
Like ultraviolets.
Parma violets.
Yep. Ultraviolets.
What?
I think that's the name of an Eki, mate.
Do you remember the Nintendos?
That was Pink Rockstars.
Pink Rockstars.
Always pissing himself and all he knows about them.
Mum, I never done drugs. Did you have a point? A salient point?
I can't fucking
To finish up
remember it, mate.
this episode, what is it you're going to say, George?
We're a bit
We'll wrap up the episode. No, the thing that I wanted to talk about was the things that you would tell your kind of younger self. 'Cause
Yes.
That's what we're talking. That's what we're
Well, the
talking.
thing is, we've kind of done that in a way in this whole podcast of like we've spoke about. We went a bit
didn't
down.
even- aye, we
we
did
went a bit
actually.
down
The rabbit hole.
the rabbit hole of the shit that we used to do when you were.
kettle.
Yeah. A few different holes you've been down.
Aye,
Why'd you cough like that? It's a bit sus, man.
Wee bit.
I know. So it was just I wanted to talk about some of the shit that you. So it goes to show that how quickly think back to like those times. Like if you think back to them, it doesn't feel like that long ago, and yet now. 30, both of you are 30 plus, right? I'm not, but father, like how quickly that time has just passed.
Oh, aye.
And then when you're back then, you're like, that's fucking.
Months
You look at someone this old, and you're like, mate, they're ancient. Whereas now you're like in about it.
Do you know what?
It's mad.
See, when I was like 20, breaking into the kind of the first team and whatever, and there was boys at like 30.
You used to think they were ancient,
I was
man.
like, fucking all right, grandfather time.
Like remember being the youngest person in the team.
Aye,
Now you're like the oldest.
I'm a senior.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's frightening to think of it. But I think that there's many things. So I had a thing, right? And it was, I don't know if it's one of those old Chinese proverb type things, because we always speak about like, oh, if I didn't go play rugby here, then this wouldn't have happened, or I didn't go play rugby here, this would, or if I didn't move, or whatever the case is. And it was like this man, his son live in a farm, and his did you hear this? This man and his son live in a farm, they've got a horse and the horse runs away. The village comes to him and he's like, that's terrible news. And he's like, I don't know if it's bad news, I don't know if it's good news. The horse comes back with 2 other horses. Like, village comes out, that's great news. Well, I don't know if it's good news, I don't know if it's bad news. The son jumps on one of the horses, tries to teach it something. Son falls off, breaks his back. It's like, fuck, that's terrible news. Well, I don't know if it's good news, I don't know if it's bad news. Right? Military knock the door. We're going to war. We're taking all able-bodied people to war. Who's coming? He's like, oh, my son's broke his back. He can't make it. Village come round. That's great news. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. So it's like a constant evolution of things happening. So whatever happens to you, whether it be good or bad, you don't know if it's good or bad. It just is.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Is that where that's from? The Richest Man in Babylon?
If you've not read that book, read that
I have
book.
read that book.
No, just listeners.
All right.
If you've not read that book, read that book.
I have read that book.
Aye. I would like to
told
hear
the
since you
fucking
just
story.
spoke about
I just said the proverb.
That's something. See, when you hear that, that's great.
It's
First
mad,
time you
innit?
hear that, it's great.
Bit of a weird book though, because see towards the very, very end, spoiler alert, talks about like your sexual temptation and how you should drive all of your sexual temptation into just making money instead of your sexual pleasure.
That's pretty much what I do.
Not out of choice, but is it?
I can't shag my wallet.
You're not trying I go and tell a fucking really good story, right? And then we flip it just as quick as that.
Yeah, that's how we run.
Did you expect it less? No, I mean,
Well, we end it there.
Wrap that up.
Wrap that up. Is that what you said to the ball?
Wrap the thing.
You rap us,
You're
you
the man.
introduce us, you rap.
so thanks for listening to episode 31 there.
Sorry for listening.
Aye. And I hope you took something from it. And if you could, as we always ask, give us a wee follow, share the podcast with
Share it with your ma.
first, and then a few other people, because it's appreciated. Help the boys grow, help the podcast grow. And thanks again for listening, but do us a favour, comment as well your favourite haircut out of the years in the comments. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Don't be a hoe.
What?
Don't be a hoe.
Show
Share
the money.
Share the
Podcast.
Share the show.
Share the show.
Share the show.
There you go.